As per continuation to the information literacy that has been reported and introduced by Ms. Reza Asentino, we are now down to the media literacy, wherein just like the information literacy, media literacy is also important in terms of developing the 21st century skills, especially on this era where the advantages of technology has been really relevant in order for us to cope up with the modernization. So, first of all, what is media literacy? It underscore understanding both how and why media messages are constructed. So, creating media products by understanding and utilizing the most appropriate media creation tools, characteristics, and conventions. So, media literacy do not just focus on how are we going to use that certain technology, the multimedia nor the social media, but also in terms of creating such um, product of literacy. So the first skill that has been presented, or majority skill presented in terms of being a media literate, is to analyze media, which is very important because it might lead to not everything presented on media is reliable. So therefore, analyzing media is really our top tier. So out of the scale that to analyze media, we have its sub-scale, which is to understand both how and why media messages are constructed and for what purposes. For example, the things that are posted on social media. Before we rely or we get that certain information, we need to have our self-assessments if what is the very purpose of this poster, why he or she have posted this certain information. Is it worth the use to use it to another purposes? So the questions should linger into our minds every now and then, like that. Next skill is to create media products. So as what I have said earlier, we do not just get to understand the very purpose of social media and on how to do it, but we are also creators. For example, the very basic example is when we create our Facebook accounts or any social media accounts, which is wherein we get to think that it's just a simple act of creating accounts, but it already affects majority or percentage of levels. So its sub-skill is to understand and utilize the most appropriate media creation tools, characteristics, and conventions. So at the same time, as educators that we are, one of its perfect example is when we use the Google Classrooms for effective use, especially on our blended learnings and uh, mainstreamings of lessons. If we could still remember during the pandemic, it has been very useful because the use of social media or the use of media by that time have arose because of the very reason that we cannot go outside. So therefore, the creation of social media products have been one of our responsibilities in terms of the 21st century, especially as educators. So next we have the technology literacy. It pertains to the use of technology as a tool to research, organize, and evaluate and communicate information. So on our past lesson during our course in Mamhalun, we developed our e-portfolios wherein our projects, we got ideas on how to organize, evaluate our projects in order for it to not look messy and the informations are not left behind, because sometimes we discard and disregard certain informations and certain projects that we know is already non-useful but is actually useful in the future. So it is effective for accessibility purposes. So one of its major skill is to apply technology effectively. Applying technology effectively, just like the example presented, that we educators are learning on how to upgrade our skills in terms of media or technology usage, and it has been passed towards our students because that's the goal. Learning is a cycle and never ending, so therefore that is why we pass our learnings towards them, and that is a perfect way of application of technology effectively when we pass it to towards our students. And one of its sub-skill is to use technology as a tool of research. Of course, where do we get our certain informations? But sometimes the overload of information causes us confusion and frustration kasi we do not already know what are the perfect information that we get to use, and that is there goes the intervention of us, there goes the discrepancy or the disadvantage of technology, which should be presented and addressed by the teacher, because that is our role to address to our students the disadvantages of the disadvantages of technology. But at the same time, when we focus on the positive side, technology is used for researches in order to get more sources and more information, to get more sources and more information. So, and at the same time, to organize and to evaluate. Next is the life and career skills. So today's life and work environments both require more than thinking skills and content knowledge. For example, on the field of education, we have the certain model, which is the TPAC model, the content knowledge, the teaching, the technology based, and the pedagogy, the pedagogical teachers. So we need to really possess both being a technological teacher, content knowledge based teacher, and pedagogical teacher. So since pedagogy means learning or knowing how to teach your students, um, one of its convenience that we have in order to teach them accordingly and really address their needs and their problems in terms of learning. That is why we are very thankful with the technology, because it gives us the convenience, and at the same time, we keep on mentioning it, it is the perfect source of information. And that is why, as educators, the generation is upgrading. Therefore, technology is also simultaneously upgrading. Flexibility and adaptability is one of our basic and fundamental role to play. We needed to be flexible and adaptable in terms of the many changes. Since change is really inevitable, that should not be a hindrance for us to adapt with change, since change is our partner, diba? Since change already is uncontrollable in nature. So one of its skill is to adapt to change. So when there is a need to change, there is a certain problem to address. So it is one of the top role of a 21st century literate to adapt to change, because based on its sub-skill, to adapt to varied roles, job responsibilities, schedules, and context. So if we are going to take into account the responsibilities of the teacher, um, a teacher herself have administrative duties to play. So that is why adapting to change, kasi when you get to enter to a school, or when you already get that job, you thought the teaching is all you have to do, but actually you need to adapt to change and accept the challenges that comes your way. So next is to be flexible, that whether you like it or not, even if you are an English major, you'll be needing to teach mathematics. There is a need to teach Filipino, or even on a single setting, the across curriculum basis, or the across curriculum moments of teaching. So its sub-skill is to understand, negotiate, and balance diverse views and beliefs to reach workable solutions, particularly in multicultural environments, especially on remote areas. For example, on remote areas, you have been introduced to Subanen cultures. Even if you are not Subanen, you get to respect their culture and understand their culture at the same time in order for you to know how to respect and to teach them how to respect other people's culture. So, and also, we cannot really deny the fact that there will always be students that will have, um, what do you call this, an opposite belief rather than yours. And we needed to respect that because we cannot really change another person's culture. Next is initiative and self-direction. So its main skill is to manage goals and time. And its sub-skill is to balance tactical or short-term and strategic or long-term long-term goals. So managing goals and time is really important and should be integrated to students even on primary or secondary. It should be integrated onto them because it will always be timely and relevant, no matter what age. We really needed to teach them how to manage their goals and time, how to make goals and how to make time, because balancing it is a big achievement and is really considered as a 21st century skill, especially now that there were arousing a lot of distractions such as the technology. One of the disadvantages of technology is really get most of your time because of addiction. So that is why it is such a skill to teach to manage goals and time. Next is to work independently. Yes, working together, collaboration and engagement has been effective, especially on teaching and learning process, the give and take process, think, pair, and share. But working independently is a nature we need to consider, since even if no man is an island, there will always be times that you need to stand by yourself. And it, based on its sub-skill, is to monitor, define, and prioritize complete tasks without direct oversight. So the self-assessments, the self-awareness should always be there. Next skill is be self-directed learner. So just like to work independently, to direct yourself. For example, on the tertiary level, we have the certain already to have a self-learning, diba? The ideas or the titles, the books are presented, but not directly discussed. So you already have the or you need to have a sense of survival method. So next sub skill is to go beyond basic mastery of skill. Go beyond basic mastery of skill and curriculum to explore and expand one's own learning. Because actually, when we get to realize it, we learn more when we go through hands-on learning and independent learning. So when we get to direct ourselves, there were a lot of curiosities that we wanted to discover on our own. So the exploration will arouse, and that certain exploration will lead us to many details, both intentional and unintentional. So next sub skill is to be responsible to others. A sense of accountability. So consider others' ideas and viewpoint and assess others in times of their downfalls and setbacks. So even if it is not our fault, but helping others should not be a burden. So other people's ideas and viewpoints should not be corrected most of the time, because diba, most of the time we wanted to learn most of the time we wanted to listen. We wanted to listen because we want to respond immediately. We do not listen because we want to listen, to empathize nor sympathize. We just listen because we want to respond. Diba? So, that is why, let us consider other people's feelings at the same time, to analyze what they actually feel, and to put ourselves into their shoes, to put our foot on their shoes, and to help them on their downfalls and setbacks, because we do not really know how much weight they get to carry. Next is social and cross-cultural skills. So now we are down to cultures and in the society. So its first skill is to interact effectively with others. So we do not just interact in a bad way, nor in a way that is not in a friendly manner, but to interact effectively with others. So one of its sub skill is to know when it is appropriate to listen and when it is appropriate to speak. So that's how we interact effectively with others, which is actually, sad to say, is disregarded nowadays. Kasi sometimes we, even if it is not time to speak yet, we get to speak because we allow our emotions to. And that is one skill that we need to develop. Next is to work effectively in diverse terms, because diversity really revolves around us. So, its some skill is to respect cultural differences, wherein we do not correct other people's culture but to understand and respect theirs, to give them courtesy, and to work effectively with people from a range of social and cultural backgrounds. So we do not base how we treat people from where they came from, or from what is their economic status. We should treat people fairly. Next is productivity and accountability. So first skill is to manage projects. So productivity and accountability is already a big thing to deal, 'di ba? Especially if we teach it into primary and in the secondary level. So this is still vast and a complex idea unto them. So therefore, we should focus it more onto ourselves as educators as we are. So its sub-skill is to prioritize, plan, and manage work to achieve the intended result. So of course, just like a lesson plan, or a lesson we wanted to create or we wanted to conduct, if there is a learning objective, there is a learning outcome that we are looking up. Next is to produce results. Producing results means to demonstrate additional attributes associated with producing high quality products, including the abilities to work positively and ethically. So we do not just focus on the lack of resources, but to make substitutions if ever there is lackings, and to include abilities to work positively and ethically. The morality upon us should always be there in producing our results, and additional attributes, um, additional informations, so benchmarking from other projects or from other finished products. So next is we have the leadership and responsibility. It's this leadership and responsibility. First skill is to guide and lead others. So, an information for everyone that when you are a leader yourself, you do not maximize your potential, because a leader maximizes the potential of its constituents. That's how we attest a leader's effectivity. So it is to guide and lead others. So its sub-skill that is clearly connected to the skill is to use interpersonal and problem-solving skill to influence and guide others toward a goal. So it really is a matter of influencing others. You become a model or an imitation. A sense of imitation should always be addressed and seen towards you. So next, we have to be responsible to others. So even if how much we say that I don't care about other people, but actually they are our responsibility. So next, so its sub-skill is to act responsibly with the interest of the larger community in mind. So, in terms of leadership and responsibility, for example, when you do impartial decisions, not impulsive decisions, impartial decisions, you need to take account, or you need to put first the welfare of the community that you are involved in, or that you are holding as a leader yourself. So now we are down to the implications to pre-service teacher preparation. So there is a need to understand the key elements of optimum curricula. So what do we mean to say when we say key elements of optimum curricula? It is the integration, addressing the students' needs, diba? And that will help, so on and so forth. That will help pre-service teachers develop the dispositions, or to see the dispositions, the habits of mind and confidence to enable students to develop 21st century skills, which are essential skills that will be used in real world situations and when they get to graduate, which is the industrial needs or the organizational needs in a range of a core of academic subject areas. And at the same time, in order for us to know or to learn the specific learning styles of the students, in order for us to actually have a blueprint of where are we going to attack onto them. And another implication, the pre-service teacher preparation, is that since schools get rid of a one-size-fits-all system, therefore, pre-service teachers are expected to play an active role in developing and organizing content and instruction for their students. So this certain concept of one-size-fits-all system, it is somehow already traditional, diba? Because there were lots of sizes. There were lots of sizes of shirts. Not all of your students can wear a small size. What we mean to say here is that the differentiated instruction should always be integrated and used as a skill by the teacher in order to genuinely address the needs of the students. So now we have our instructional modules. So first is integrating teach for understanding principle. So this teach for understanding principle is somewhat or somehow understandable, di ba? Kasi sometimes, or in a traditional way, not to bash it, but in a traditional way, as per observed and witnessed, that when the teacher teaches the certain topic and then the students didn't understand it, then let's just proceed. Let's proceed to another Let's proceed to another topic kasi we are basing on the curriculum guide. But as to now, and as an instructional model or integrating or an integration of teach for understanding principle, we focus more on what needs to be addressed. So when pre-service teachers can prepare and present lessons that can develop students' essential concepts and skills with the integration of technologies, the latter can reciprocally demonstrate critical thinking and problem solving in class. So, when the teachers could present the lessons effectively, of course, with the use or the integration of technology, wherein the concepts, a lot of sources and information have been presented to them, and even as a teacher that you learned a lot in order to add or to put up into your teaching skills, it will really result into a good product wherein your students would have a result of being problem solvers or developing their critical thinking skills. So the effectivity is not just onto you, but also onto your student. Next is creating rich practice teaching experience to students. So this rich practice teaching experience to students actually already means one thing, and that is the hands-on learning or the realism. So strong practice teaching experiences allow pre-service teachers to connect the theory and practices. So from texts to the real life situations, which is attested and is believed to be more effective and causes lifelong learners towards students. So next is creating dynamic learning communities and peer mentoring networks. So pre-service teachers benefit greatly from service learning as part of their experiential learning courses. So that is the reason why I really believe that when we get to teach, we get to learn more. So in these dynamic learning communities and peer mentoring networks, it would really help educators to actually get ideas or give some ideas to inspire or to motivate themselves at the same time, just vice versa when we mentor or teach other people or our peers at this or our peers also. So next is examining the role of content, pedagogy, and technologies in developing higher order thinking skills. So the ability to teach for content mastery is a challenging for most pre-service teachers. So teachers preparation programs can play a vital role in developing education leaders who understand and can influence current trends in assessment. So this preparation programs for teachers is really a great what do you call this stepping stone for a successful teaching and learning purpose, especially with the integration of technology. So, implication to pre-service teacher preparation. First, we have the learning environments. So, when we say the learning environment, it includes the classrooms or any setting where the learning takes place. So, in determining the enabling structures, policies, and strategies that can best support 21st century skills acquisition among pre-service teachers is a step towards creating a kind of environment that will promote 21st century learning. So, with the support of all the skills of the integration or the learning and teaching of all the skills that has been presented a while ago, it will really promote a 21st century learning. And that is actually a vital or a crucial topic to really address or to really put into action, because this 21st century skills is somewhat it wasn't purely presented nor introduced, but it is one of the skills that is needed by our society nowadays. And at the same time, second one, we have the partnerships. Of course, be it national or nor international. So partnerships are extraordinarily important in the work of transforming 21st century teachers preparation programs. So the powerful partnerships are created through strong collaborations towards enabling innovation in the teaching and learning for the 21st century. So be it from peer to peer teaching of the teachers on their preparations, school to school, district to district, region to region, that is already a good partnership, because once again, two brains are better than one. Next is the continuous improvement. So improvements and learning should be never ending. So continuous improvement represents willingness to commit to revisiting the process over time. So the evaluation and assessment of the process or of the upgrading should always be there in order to monitor it. If how was it going? Diba? For example, when we get to a remote area having computer sets for the first time. So we need to monitor the effectivity of the use of technology in order for us to actually compare and contrast the traditional way or the way where technology has already been used. So, which is more effective. So that's what we mean to say when we say monitoring or revisiting the process over time. So, engage all participants in refining and improving success over time. That is why we have teachers seminars, to also improve and monitor the learnings and the knowledge of our teachers into the great upgrade or the fast moving upgrade of technology and teaching. So the 21st century skill categories, in the term 21st century skills refers to a broad set of knowledge. Diba? Skills, work habits, and character traits that are critically important in today's world, since it will be used really in the future generations and in the outside world. So, particularly in collegiate programs and contemporary careers and workplaces. So, for example, specifically here in MSU Buog. So, MSU Buog is more on agricultural, no, particularly Buog, Zamboanga, Sibugay. So, we focus more on agriculture kasi we're not along seashores naman. We do not have oceans here, or we are not so near with the seas. That is why we are not focused on fisheries. So that is why the MSU Buog, Mindanao State University Buog, which is a near college or a near university, or is actually really inside Buog, Zamboanga, Sibugay, is really focused on agriculture. Kasi nga, it is interconnected and it is part of the skills. Now, the partnership for 21st century skills encompasses a wide range of knowledge and skills that are interconnected with applied skills, hands-on skills, cross-curricular skills, cross-disciplinary skills, interdisciplinary skills, transferable skills, transversal skills, non-cognitive skills, and soft skills. So, all the skills that have been mentioned are all important and none of it is disregarded. To succeed in life and in future careers, students must empower themselves with learning and innovation skills, information, media and technology skills, life and career skills, social and cross-cultural skills. That is why it has been presented a while ago that even the smallest details of learning is already a 21st century skills, because it is the small things that matters. So the next is integration of 21st century skills must be continuously practiced along standards and assessments, curriculum and instruction, professional development, and learning environments. So why? For proper monitoring and in order to know and to apply more of improvements to achieve the goals, objectives, and outcomes. And considering the teachers are the greatest mobilizers, so of course, who else of 21st century education, therefore pre-service teachers must be rigidly trained on these skills to prepare them for future professional career roles. So, which is the perfect example of a teacher's roles. So that would be all for our report. Thank you so much.